Hello, folks. This is Kaiser from Kaisers Kastle coming at you live from the war room. I have a friend of mine from Northern California, Alan. He's here to tell you some strange things that he found in his hobby. I'm going to let him describe his hobby to you, and it's a pretty cool hobby. I find it interesting, and I think you will too. And if you hear a background noise, that's from my heater at my house. So please don't mind that. It will be captured by my mic. As you can see, there's a box. I'm going to let Alan tell you exactly how this all occurred. Go ahead, Alan.
All right. Yeah, my hobby is the paranormal, like, what would you say, generally, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then and that includes UFOs and conspiracies and everything under. But then my fun, the thing I zero in on the most, the one is my main part of the hobby of the paranormal, is the Bigfoot or Sasquatch or hairy man.
Yep.
But whatever the name is, In fact, that picture that you're showing is. Most people, I guess I wouldn't, in the area where you're at, with the high plains, there's not mountains really. Right. There's woods and stuff like that, and hills maybe. But where I'm at, there's mountains, right. Like Yosemite and, like big giant mountains. And so everybody for the last 50 years or longer even, they associate Bigfoot with the mountains. Yep. At least in California. In your area, then it would be in the woods or river bottoms and stuff like that. And I started thinking about that, like from your area, you're in a plains area, there's no mountains, and Bigfoot seems to be all over the place over there in Ohio, Salt Fork State Park, and all around,
Right.
And in many other states too. So I thought, well, if that's the case, I live in the Central Valley of California, and it's not mountains. It's like a big old giant bowl in between two mountain ranges, the Coast Range that's right before the ocean, and then the Sierras. And I thought, man, Bigfoot must be like, if he was going to come down, and I started researching, I don't know, 5 years ago, and I started finding evidence that I was right,
Right.
This thing's coming down. It's using the rivers, the creek beds, canals, green zones, like wilderness where people try to make it back to natural, or, and they're using those areas, and they're coming into the Central Valley. And I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, the Central Valley, we're called the breadbasket of the world.
Yep.
We grow everything, right?
Yep.
We have citrus of every kind, whatever, lemons, tangerines, oranges, we have all the fruits, peaches and plums and nectarines and, grapes and all the vegetables, like broccoli.
Broccoli.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything, all up and down the valley, they grow just about anything that can be grown, and it's solid, wall-to-wall farms almost everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
River bottoms and creeks and stuff running down through there, right?
Right.
And started finding evidence of them, and then so I wanted to document, show people with video, and follow a river and show that anywhere I stopped on that river through the Central Valley, and I went from one mountain range to the other mountain range, that this thing could live in there and hide in there, and at night it could come out and recon or whatever it wanted to do, and it could be totally nobody would know. You know what I mean? Under the cover of darkness, he could get away with anything, and he could see in the dark. He could see infrared, so they're not going to catch him on game cameras. He doesn't like lights, so he'll be staying away from lights. And if he doesn't want to be seen, he won't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I call them forest ninjas. Well, now they're just wild ninjas, you know.
Yeah.
Only every once in a while, for some unknown reason, it'll run out in front of a car and let somebody see him in the middle of the night, early morning hours or something like that, and it'll do it, and then the people report it to me, and I'm like, did he want to be seen because it was the only car around? You know, why did he want to be seen? I'm still trying to figure that out.
Right.
But then that picture, I stopped. We were trying to follow the river as much as possible, and at one point we're next to the river, but we weren't going to stop. And I seen that box with all the little flags. You know, I'm like, what the heck is that? You know,
right.
Stop. You know, let's look at this a little closer. You know, I don't know what it is. To me, with the little flags, it's flagging, you know what I mean? It's like being obvious, like, hey, come and look at me, kind of like. And I was thinking, man, is that like an offering to a Bigfoot or some kind of water demon or something, you know, that people are afraid of? Or
right.
Is there, you know, it has to be something like that.
Especially the symbology of the flags being yellow and green. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild that the way that he put it out, and it does seem to have some symbology to it. So I totally get why it would have attracted your attention. And the people who are watching can see this box. I mean, you know, it's just a corrugated box. But the thing is, the flag sticking in it. That's sort of like, wow, why would somebody do that? So, sorry I interrupted, but I just wanted to fill people in. And, you know, that I would have even stopped. It just would have been something like, wonder what's in there, you know. So, sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm interested in what you even might think it might even be. You know what I mean?
Right. It's a quandary, and especially when we show them what's in the box. That's the next picture, and I'm gonna pop it up for you folks right now. And there it is. This is what he found in the box. Go on and explain a little bit about it, brother. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, like, okay, like when I first, like, I have a video of it. They could go to, like, my YouTube is called Squatch Zone.
All right.
That's all they have to do is type in Squatch Zone, and the video's there. And I think the picture that is up is the actual picture we're looking at right now, the inside of the box.
Yes, sir.
And what's in the box, what turned out to be in the box, was a bag full of guts and feathers. And I think it came from the duck that's wrapped in the foil. There's actually a duck in there, and it's all plucked and folded up, you know, wrapped up kind of like into that foil. And then there's little animals that was made out of the mud, but only they were baked, you know, or cooked or something, so they're real hard. It's not like you can crumble them, you know what I mean? They're I don't know what you kilned or whatever. So they went through a lot of trouble to make a starfish, an alligator, a turtle, a seal, fish. There's a porpoise, I think. There's a giraffe. And then there's one, it's either a lion or it's a dinosaur. It's something. I never seen any kind of animal like that.
Right.
I don't, you know, we were trying to figure out, like, why is that sitting there with that in it, right? Guts, a duck, and little animals they made out of the mud. Why? You know, like, and then flag it so that people like me are going to go, what the heck?
Yep.
You know, like, I was even thinking when I was putting my hands in there, my wife's like, you washed your hands, right? You know, like, yeah. But, you know, I moved the bag of guts and picked up some of the animals and stuff like that. But as we were leaving, you know, I was thinking, man, what if the little flags was like, whoever messes with this box gets a curse type thing?
Yeah. The symbology in it, though, is so interesting because it's very natural. You know, the American Indians, you know, I look, my politics do not reflect Alan's politics at all. I want to make sure everybody understands this. I do use, politically incorrect speak, and I will always do that because I'm old and I don't care. But I don't want anybody bringing Alan into my banquet. So, leave the comments aside. We're different people, but we have some of the same interest, and this happens to be one of them. And the thing that astounds me about this is not only the symbology of the flags, but once he's showing me, you have a gutted duck, an actual duck after it's been plucked in there, and you have these little creatures that, like he said, they appear to be like kiln drying. And that's a lot of, you could say, well, maybe it was a trap for some sort of wild animal. Well, that would make sense in a way until you think, why would they put in these little critters? And that's the quandary. And there's probably some symbology from, and I'd be curious if any Native Americans or Indians are out there, feather not dot, that can tell us what, the symbology is, because it's a quandary to him, it's a quandary to me. And please let the people know what your YouTube channel is again, so they can actually see the discovery and see you trying to see how Bigfoot moves clandestinely through this very fertile plain. And that would be
Squatch Zone. The Squatch Zone. That's what it is. Easy Squatch Zone. And I was thinking it was like Asian, maybe.
Okay.
The creation or whatever, whoever made that box. I had a feeling it had, because the Asians, they're really around fishing and hunting, way more than any other race around here.
Okay.
They still, that's where they came from. You know what I mean? We forgot where we came from. Right. But they haven't yet. They're still hunting and fishing and stuff like that. And I remember when I was a kid, we did, but only I don't know what happened. Right. We got away. But I was thinking it was Asian, kind of, and I have interviewed a lot of the reports of the Bigfoot in, throwing boulders and rocks and, jumping off the side of the cliff and right into where they're at, and then taking one step and jumping in the river and swimming away and stuff. Most of it is from Asians telling me that.
Oh, wow.
So, that's why I thought, that's what made me think the box was made as some kind of a gifting or something for Bigfoot,
like an offering
or something else.
Yeah,
like a peace offering, like.
Yeah.
I have no idea though. Still, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not an expert. All I know is, that was weird.
Yeah,
really.
Well, my philosophy has always been I don't believe in experts, and that's what makes you so genuine. You're just out looking for the truth, and barring what anybody says, the truth is findable, but it's only findable if you look for it. If you look, you'll find. That's been my catchphrase since I was fed. And nothing will remain hidden in darkness as long as you're looking. And,
that's right.
All will be illuminated, not to try to take a Illuminati terminology, but it really will, as long as you try to discover the truth. And the truth is not subjective. That's, a lot of people will say it's subjective, but it's not. The truth is not subjective, and neither is right or wrong. There is a definite right and a definite wrong. So
yeah,
that's my 2 cents on it. And I agree, it could be the Hmong people that are out by where you live that put it out as an offering, because they are, as you stated, seem to be, sadly, more in touch with nature than the American people have for some reason. And well, that's something that we need to try to change, I think, within our own country. But either way, it was put out there for a reason. It's purpose driven, and I want everybody to go to the Squatch Zone and look and see this video. I'm fortunate to have Alan as a friend, so I get to see this stuff, whenever whenever we're able to talk, and then we have a good conversation. So we decided, hey, I'm going to create a channel. It's going to go different than any of my other channels, I may do some of the same things, but I'm also going to look at different things and have different people on. And we'll find agreement where we find agreement. And if we disagree, we can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. And
See,
that's the whole purpose.
That is so cool. I like that you're going to be agreeing to disagreeing, because haven't we lost that?
We have.
Isn't that what's wrong with Facebook and all that? That everybody is they're almost like standing guard on their opinion, you know. And if somebody speaks against it, you're blocked, you know, or you're a troll, you know. I mean, they label everybody really quick, and nobody can. There's no dialogue.
That's right.
Unless you're one side or only the one, you know. If you're a total left, the dialogue on the left they have is hate speech, you know. And if you're on the right, the dialogue on the, you know, they're all dialoguing, but it doesn't include the other side, and it's all hate speech, you know. I mean, like, what's up with everybody?
It's just crazy. Like, that's just the way that the culture's become coarsened, and but it has. And this is, of course, the only thing I am expert on is my own opinion. I am the foremost expert on my opinion. Nobody else can be. And so in my opinion, it has really coarsened up by the left. And that's probably why, you know, when we talk, you know, I swing a little to the right of Julius Evola. But the thing about it is, I can also see when the right does things that are kooky. So, you know, but these are issues that I don't want to really hash on this channel. This channel I'd like to keep just light, friendly. I want people to, you know, hear what's going on in Kaisers Kastle. And this is one of the things that when I'm up late at night and I'm talking to bros, I talk to bros around the world. And Alan's one of my favorite bros. We talk and we'll just chew the fat. And he'll tell me what's new in his world. I'll tell him what's new in mine. And we keep it light like that, you know. So
we have some fun, man. Like, sometimes I'll look down and it'll be like, you know, getting towards midnight, 1 o'clock in my time zone. You know, I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. Like it's like 3 in the morning where you're at. I need to let you go to bed, you know. But only we're having so much fun, I didn't even realize that it went that far.
It's like, where the fuck did time go? It seems like it was 15 minutes ago it started, and then all of a sudden it's like, dude, look at your clock. Oh wow, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's time for me to hit the rack.
Yeah. That's same.
Good stuff, brother.
But I like your idea of your channel. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, and finally, here we go, you know, and see how it goes. The pictures that, you know, I'm sitting there looking at that picture right now. I'm still getting the willies on it, like heebie-jeebies or whatever. That I even said, like, last night when I put the video, I gave everybody a heads up, and I did a live show like what we're doing right now, and everybody came in, you know, and I told everybody, now pray that we left whatever it was, you know, if there was anything meant to go with that box or anybody that messed with it, you know, if there was something that was supposed to attach to them, I want everybody to pray that goes away, you know, that doesn't get attached, you know. We didn't bring nothing home with us, you know, from that. Because in the paranormal that I do, and some of the other stuff, you can bring stuff home.
Right.
You know, like things can attach to you, or you could go to a yard sale and buy something that's old that you think's cool looking, and it'll have something. You know, and those things, like, you bring it home and it'll destroy your household, man. I mean, all of a sudden everybody's arguing and, you know, not feeling good, and I mean, and it'll all be from that one little thing you brought home, you know.
Yeah.
And everybody else, they'll be blaming everybody else. That, you know, like, you make me have a bad day every day, you know, and they don't. Everybody doesn't realize it was that little doll or figurine or whatever they brought.
Yeah, it's like the Amityville horror kind of thing. You know, something attaches to something. You know, whether people believe in that stuff or not. There's, as I was told a long time ago, the truth always has a certain ring to it, and every conspiracy starts with a grain of truth.
Yeah.
And all this folklore, wives' tales, whatever you want to call them, there's always a root to it. You know, why do people throw salt over their shoulder when they spill it over the right shoulder? You know,
Yeah.
why is a mirror, 5 years of bad luck? Well, it's 5 years back in the day because they'd have to save up for 5 years to buy a new mirror. So,
Oh wow.
yeah.
So that's how much the mirrors were?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, polished
Whoa.
glass, yeah. So, I mean, it's just these little things. They always have some root in truth. That's the whole thing I think I want to try to get at with this channel is truth. And I'm going to truth with anybody. And,
Man, that's cool.
I don't care religion, politics, whatever, but it's always going to be truthful. And I'm open to listening. But I'm not open to argumentative stuff. It's just not going to work on my channel.
Right.
That's what's so cool about this is that this is the first show. This sets the standard, and that standard will be maintained.
Cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, really good.
But yeah, do send prayers to Alan that nothing did come with that box because it is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It's kind of eerie. So,
well, if I find any more, I go out I don't know, a couple times a week, and there's a video before this video, and what I did was I picked a road where there's a road that goes from all the way from one mountain range to the other mountain range.
Right.
And on this road, along this stretch, I get even all the way into the mountains, right? You could follow it into the mountains,
Right.
Both sides, both mountain ranges. And a lot of the reports, they're either on that road, around that road, or close to that road. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the last week, towards the end of the week, I did a video. We went east on that road, and we went all the way into the mountains, and we checked out a couple of reports. A week ago, this guy called me up, and he said he works out at a gym, and he has a workout guy, buddy, friend, whatever, you know, that he only knows him from the gym. That's the only time they see each other,
Right.
And I guess they've been going to the gym 3 years, so I guess they're pretty good friends by now, but they only see each other at the gym only.
Right.
Now, and the guy really never talked about his paranormal. He's like me. He likes to get, check it out and stuff like that. And in fact, me and him go out all the time. And so he was telling his friend, yeah, man, we're gonna go out and follow this road, Belmont Road. Right. And we're gonna go east, and the guy's like, really, man? Oh man, I should tell you, right off that road, and you take Road 9 and go 2 miles off of Belmont in the mountains. And he said a couple days ago, this guy's a field supervisor for linemen, for a power company. And he said one of his linemen sent him out there, in the middle of nowhere, where the main power comes off of the high power lines and drops down to a regular power pole, whatever that is.
Transformer.
And yes, there's something wrong where it came off of that down to to power the houses, I guess. And so he sent him out there, and he was there about 6 o'clock in the morning, climbed up the pole, and was almost done fixing it. And all of a sudden, he said he heard what he thought was a rhinoceros coming down the hill at him. Wow. And he said it was rumbling the ground so much that his pole was shaking. He could feel the vibration in the pole. And he said he's been working 5 years up there, never felt anything shake his pole from that far. Right. he's had a car or a truck go by right next to it, and he could feel the vibration, but he never could. Nobody could run through the forest and make his pole vibrate, right?
Wow.
Where he could feel it. So he was freaking out and looking to see what it was that's going to come breaking out of the brush. And these two deer come barreling out, and they're looking behind them, and they're on a dead run, you know. And but that wasn't making his pole vibrate. The deer weren't doing it. They went on and they took off. Whatever was chasing them was doing it, and it stopped right before it came out of the brush.
Maybe because he saw the lineman.
Right.
It was a Bigfoot, a Squatch, and maybe he just was like, "Oop, I better go incognito, get clandestine again."
Well, he didn't get totally clandestine because he stomped and growled and made all this noise, and he was like vibrating the pole, and he was stomping around and breaking trees and all kinds of stuff over there. Even though the guy couldn't see him, it scared him so bad, right?
Right.
I mean, he said that even after the thing quit making sound and he was done and everything, he stayed on the pole for an hour. He wouldn't come down until he knew that, you know, he could go from the pole to his truck safely and get the hell out of there, right?
Yeah, that sounds like Les Stroud, Survivor Man, on Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
This is years ago. I remember hearing it on his podcast. Was relating a story to Bigfoot's when he was out camping somewhere, but he didn't, he's not going to say, he still will say he's never seen one, but he said he's seen some wild stuff. And just listen to some of those interviews, and it's funny because, here's a guy that goes out there and actually did it live, he's filming it himself, and he's not got a whole crew out there with him giving him a chocolate bar or going to hotels like another guy used to do that was a survival expert, a guru. But
right,
former territorial
99% of the cable TV guys, they're all like that. Don't take me any further than an hour from the hotel, No.
Well, see, I always say if you're gonna train for survival, never go further than, the best way to train, and most people I know that actually teach it, is just like do it in your backyard. That way if something goes sideways, you can walk in your house. It's just training. There's no reason to die. But the survival experts, I'm saying that with air quotes, what you'll find is, they end up dying somewhere, from exposure or something. And it was pointless. They didn't have anything to prove, but they decided they wanted to do it. I got no problem with people doing that, but that's why expert always rings hollow with me. I just know too many experts that have passed, and that's even including my old career field, doing what I did for the government. So, people die every day, but the point is at least to have the skills. But yeah, like I said, at least I will give Les Stroud all the bennies. The man went out there with fully charged batteries, probably had a solar battery charger or something, and he always got the video. So
I think he has a Bigfoot internet channel now.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah, and you can pay I think it's a pay to monthly, like $4 or $5 or something like that a month, and you can watch all the shows. Yeah, I mean he's way open with it. Yeah, so we went east, right, on Belmont Avenue or Road or whatever you want to call it, and we checked that place out. And I have that video up on Squatch Zone, and people can look at it. And we fought, I go the little route and where the guy was and everything. So then this week, we decided we're going to go west we're going to go the west way, and we're going to go follow the river that follows that little road, pretty much all the way to the other mountain range.
Wow.
And show, because then in the first place that we stopped, which is weird, and I should have gave you a picture of it, because I mean it was weird, man. I mean, if this is weird right here, but this is still weird what I'm going to tell you.
Right.
A couple of weeks ago, was at my pharmacy picking up my monthly medication, you know, they got to have.
Right.
And the guy that's been giving me my medication for the last 5 or 6 years, you know, he said, he pulls me off down the counter a little ways. He's like, "Hey man, I saw a Bigfoot." I'm like, "What?" I mean, and usually they're making fun of me, you know, about what I do and all that, you know. So for him to say that, you know, is almost like it almost floored me. Like, what? You know, come on, man. You know, what are you gonna pull on me? Come on.
Right.
You know, don't be messing with me today. I don't feel like it, you know.
Right.
And he's like, no, serious. He goes, "I knew you'd be like that. You know, you won't believe me." He goes, "But really," he goes, I saw one. I was going home the other night, and he actually took a different route than normal, because on his normal route, the gangbangers have been shooting at the cars. So he went like 1 mile down, and he took Belmont Avenue, the one that I've been following, right?
Right.
And out in the middle of nowhere, in the valley, not in the mountains, he's seen this thing step out from the trees to the edge of the road, and he said it took 2 steps only to cross the road.
Wow.
Like 1 step, 2 steps, and it was across the road. And we're talking a pretty good size road, you know what I mean? Like, this road stretches, you know, goes for miles, you know. It's a main road.
Is it like 2 lane?
Oh yeah, 2 lanes.
So that means it's
not
about
4
what,
lanes.
24 foot wide. So that means his stride would have to be 12 foot with 2 steps.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was huge. And then he was saying there was trees on both sides, and it was as tall as the trees. And he said the trees are like over 10 feet tall.
Wow.
So it was like, okay, you know, and it stepped out in his headlights, right? And he was the only guy on the road at like 2 in the morning. And see, it was that thing again, you know, like, what? You know, here he is stepping out in front of a car on purpose,
right,
to be seen.
Right.
That's what I think, right?
Yeah, you and
because
I talked about that earlier. Yeah.
This isn't the first time I heard that, you know, from people. And so the guy, and I didn't know if he was sincere yet or not, you know. I'm kind of still looking at him like, where's the punchline? You know,
right.
You're going to get me here in a second, right? Because you have me hooked now, you know. Now I'm like, what? You know, like I'm getting excited, and I'm waiting for him to pull the rug out from under me.
Right.
But he doesn't. He says that if he could have, he would have made a turn. If there would have been a road to turn on, he would have turned. And he even thought about turning around because he didn't want to cross the road. Whoever could take 2 steps and cross the road could possibly get him, you know?
Right.
I mean, stop his car or run as fast as the car, you know, and do something to him, even though he's in a car, you know. It scared him.
Right.
He was scared. So he said what he did was he thought about turning around, but then he'd have to slow down to turn around, and it was too close to where it crossed the road. So he just gunned it.
Right.
And, you know, he was going to make sure it couldn't run 90 miles an hour, you know, hopefully.
Right.
And he went ahead, you know, and then when he crossed through there, then he turned at the first street he could and still went 90 miles an hour, right? Because he had to stop at a stop sign. He thought that gave it enough time, if it was still chasing him, if it was,
right,
to get away from there. And then he stayed on it, you know, and I thought, he's telling the truth, right? He's telling the truth. First, he wouldn't have known some of the stuff, you know, to say about, you know, like people that are scared are the only ones that say things like that. You know, if you're making a joke, you don't think to say some of those things, you know.
Exactly.
In the details that he was giving. So it was like, okay. So then me and my buddy, we decide we're going to, in a couple days, we're going to go down that road. Right. Only we're going to, and our first stop is going to be where the latest sighting was. Just like when we went the other way, we went to the latest sighting of the guy on the pole.
Right.
So this time we're going to go the other way, and we're going to stop where this guy seen it cross the road. And he told me, you know, the cross streets and about where he was, and I'm familiar, so I'm going along, and there was no trees. And I'm starting to think, wait a minute, you know, like I don't know where he was, but only there's nothing here. And then all of a sudden, we come up on this almond orchard.
Oh wow!
And it's an older orchard. You know, like the trees are pretty big, and they're around 10 or 12 feet tall on both sides of the road. I'm like, hey, yeah, I think this is it. You know, like pull over. You know, and so we're pulling over, and there, right on the ground, is a hawk, a dead hawk.
Wow. Fresh
kill, laid out, and I videotaped it. I got my video on, you know, of that. That's in the same video as this box, the hawk. That's the first thing that I show in the video is a dead hawk laying on the ground at the exact place where supposedly this Bigfoot went across the road, or somewhere close by it, you know, because I don't know actually until the guy takes me there and shows me the exact spot. But
right.
But close, you know what I mean? Like, really close.
Did you show him the video of that? That would be really interesting. I
haven't yet, but only I got to go in the next couple days and pick up some more meds, you know. But so I'm going to show him the video when I get in. Thank God for cell phones and, you know, data, because I can do that nowadays, you know.
Oh yeah, I remember back in the old days, VCRs and stuff, and that was in the military. And then when I went back over with the government, you know, now we got the nods that are that record, that hang off your helmet and whatnot. I mean, the shrinkage has just been so great, and people forget cell phones weren't always a thing. And when they were, they used to be bricks, literal bag phones. Right. Yeah. And
it was pagers.
Yeah, pagers before that.
My pager went off, you know. Oh, my wife's paging me 911. I got to call home. You know?
Yeah, 911. Phone number shows up.
Go find a phone booth. And now you can't find a phone booth to save your life. Maybe in your area, but our area, man, if you see a phone booth, take a picture.
They're rare. They're rare. A matter of fact, in my audience, if you got any pictures of phone booth sightings, that's as rare as a Bigfoot sighting. Please pass them on.
Yeah, it is. That's so cool. Yeah. Right on.
That is righteous, brother.
So yeah, that's what we did, man. And we have that all documented, both east and west on that road so far. Yeah, that's what we did so far, and we have some other ideas now. We found in this one city, and it's a different river. It's probably I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes from my house. Wow. But only we were out there 2 years ago. We heard there was people saying that they had monkeys, big giant monkeys, going through their garbage cans in this city, little town, about 6,000 people. And this river runs pretty much right through the city. Huh. And through right by a college and everything, and we're like, no, you know. And we went over there in the night, and we had a FLIR, right, the heat sensitive camera, you know. It only picks up heat signature, and it was for an iPhone, and we wanted to try it out anyways. And we went out there, and we went to this little park right in the town, and there was something in the bushes moving around. Wow. And there was 3 of us, and first, you know, it's like 1 a.m, it's dark, we can't even see in there, you know what I mean? Like, we're using the FLIR to even see in there, right? And we can't see anything, you know, but something is like only like 30 feet away, and it sounds big, you know. I mean, it's moving through the bushes and stuff, and I mean, it's making some noise, you know. It's not a little squirrel or nothing, right? So I'm like, we're standing by these rocks, and I told one of the guys, hey, grab the rocks, you know, and clack them together. And he did, and like 30 seconds coming from where we heard the noise, we hear the rocks clack together. Wow. We're like, okay, so now we know it's not an animal, right? Because animals can't hold rocks to clack together, and they wouldn't do it anyways, you know what I mean? They just don't know that. And now it has to be a human or something, right, that has hands that could hold a rock and do that, you know. Right. Well, whatever it was at the time, I'm saying whatever. I know what it is now, but only at the time we're like, okay. All of a sudden, it couldn't see us though. Like we couldn't see it; it couldn't see us. And it starts moving around the bush. You could tell that what it's going to do is going to try to get an eyeball on us because it's probably thinking we are one of it.
Right.
Right. And it wants to see who it is that just clacked that rock together. Like, probably no Bigfoot's supposed to be around here clacking rocks, and he's going to probably challenge him or something.
Right,
you know?
Territorial.
Yeah, and he comes around the bush. We still can't see him with our eyes, but there he is in the fleur.
Wow.
Right. And we see him, and he's all white because he's all hot, you know.
Right.
And a man, like a huge man-looking thing, and you could tell that he could see us. Even though we couldn't see him, he could see us because of his reaction. And then he ran and jumped over the river, jumped over it. Wow. And I mean, it was like, I don't know, 12 or 14 feet across at that right there. And then the flow was low, though. You know, it was only a couple of feet deep.
Right.
But he didn't step in it so that he made a noise. He freaking jumped it.
Wow.
Like just in one stride. He just, you know, not really even jumping. He just like ran and went right across that river. Didn't even touch the water. And then we ran down and ran into some bushes across the river and disappeared.
Wow. And
then we're like, oh man, you know, and we wanted to go across the river, so we got back, ran up to the car or the truck, drove down to the bridge, crossed the thing, you know, and then the park was on the other side too. You know, the other side of the park, on the other side of the river.
Right.
And we parked, and then we went down there, but only it was really dark, and we couldn't see. We didn't want to break out any lights so that he could see us real good, you know, like real good, even though he probably still could.
Right.
The way he reacted is he saw us perfectly good, you know. But it was like, okay, we're coming back in the morning, and we did. And we went back in the morning, and we parked, and we went down there, and where he jumped the river, he jumped onto a big old giant sandbar.
And you found tracks?
There was tracks of all kinds of, you know, couldn't tell, you know what I mean? It was just intense. And there was people walking their dogs, and I mean, it's in the middle of the town, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so there's tracks of every kind all over, and there's even kids over there throwing rocks in the water and everything, you know. So, but only so I told this dude, run, you know, try to run across that sandbar into those bushes. We found where it went, and he couldn't even hardly walk on the sand. It was so deep.
Wow.
There wasn't no running on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was really difficult to run because it was deep, loose sand, you know, just like a big pile of sand, and he couldn't do it. And then we were like, oh man, you know, we know what that is. We know what that is for sure, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we're gonna go back over there. They have a lake over there called Avocado Lake that is upriver about 6 miles or 7 miles as the river flows, not as the roads go, you know.
Right.
And in October, this is like when we're investigating. Okay, we're figuring, okay, now it's up and down the river, so we started following the river. We went up to that lake area, and there was a guy that lived across the street from the lake, and he's like, "What are you guys doing out here?" You know, and we told him. He's like, "Oh man," you know. He started telling us about these 5 Bigfoot that were on his property. And 2 went one way and 3 went the other way, and he was using this night scope to see them. And 2 of them went and hid behind this dually he had, and they were peeking out. And he's like, "I see you over there," and he thought it was humans.
Okay.
So, "I see you, man. I see you over there." And he pulls out his 45, you know, like, "You better say something, or I'm gonna start shooting," you know, like, "Come out of there," you know. And he has like, I don't know, 600 acres of lemons.
Okay.
and it's on the side of the hill, so so he sees these two, and then they take off running up the hill. About that time, three more break and run, and he's looking through his monocular, and one of them's carrying a pig on its shoulder, and they run across the road, and he's driving up the road in a little I don't know, Razor or whatever, those little truck things,
right.
Off-road things. And it runs through the headlights. He sees them really good. They're hairy. They're not people. And they hit. There's a big irrigation pipe,
right,
half buried in the ground, but it stuck up like 3 feet.
Right.
Two of them hurdled it. The one holding the pig accidentally hit it, went flying. The pig went flying. It rolled. The pig went one way, it went the other way, got up, ran over to the pig, threw it up on its shoulder, took off and caught up to the other guys, and then ran over the hill. And he said it happened in like seconds, like within 30 seconds they were gone.
Now, for the city folks, real quick, that don't know, if it was a farm pig or if it was a feral pig, I don't know. But either way, if it's an adult pig, even if it's gutted, that's some serious weight. And I don't think any man that I know can put the entire piece of a whole hog over their shoulder and run with it. I've never seen that done.
He said when it first picked it up, it got behind the other two because it fell.
Right.
It actually ran with the pig, holding it like a football.
Wow.
First, and it was running and catching up, and then it was losing its grip on it. So then it threw it on its shoulder and kept on running.
That's still amazing.
So, but the first probably 50 yards, it went with it running like a foot, holding it like a football, cradling it like a football. And I know nobody could run with a pig like that, for sure.
Yeah, even over the shoulder. I mean, even unless it's a baby pig, but it doesn't sound like it. If you can distinctly tell in the evening that it's a pig and it's being held at first over the shoulder, then gets picked up again, and you see it fly, it's got some substantial size to it. That's
right.
It's not like it just happened right in front of you and you saw this little pig float. No, it's a big pig. I guarantee it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. He said it was at least a medium, an adult pig, but medium.
Right.
He was saying over 150 pounds
easily. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said it wasn't gutted or anything. It looks like it wasn't alive, but it, there was no blood trail or anything like that. So
they snapped its neck, probably.
Yeah.
Took it somewhere.
Yeah, we've seen them like kill deer. Like I seen one kill a deer one time, and it just slammed the deer on the ground.
Right.
And then it tore its leg off. And for the longest time I was wondering why did it, and then I started, once I saw it tear the leg off, then it was like, okay, it tore the leg off, and I never could figure out why it did that. And then I would find legs, before I even saw that, I would find legs in the areas where we go, where we know these things are. You find a deer leg, you wouldn't find nothing else, just a deer leg. But then it made one day, I was thinking about it, like they don't have a refrigerator,
right?
So if as soon as you kill something, it isn't long before it starts to go bad,
Right.
But if they don't kill it and they just rip the leg off, just kind of knock it out, daze it or whatever, and then rip the leg off, they could throw it down. It's not going to get away.
Yeah.
It's going to stay right there, It'll
live for a few days. Yeah. Or at least a day, maybe. It won't bleed out for a day. Depends.
Sure, and then they could go hunting and grab another one and probably pile up 2 or 3, and then take them back and kill them fresh right there and eat them with their family or whatever, their group.
Right.
Troop, whatever you want to call them.
It's not like they have knives where they can gut the daggone thing, and plus a deer leg or a boar's leg or whatever, You know, that's something you don't have to worry about, you know, nicking a intestine and causing spoilage of the meat. So,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if they use fire. They may, maybe not. I don't know. You know, like I said, I believe there's stuff out there I don't know, but I don't know. So I'm not gonna say for one thing or the other because I don't know. But I wouldn't put it past them that they could cook. You know, they do.
See,
have
I wouldn't
hands.
either. They're smart.
Yeah,
I know that. You know,
from what I've seen, you know, people talk about, and then when me and you talk, you know, I know different things that we've talked about offline, and so I wouldn't doubt that they're very intelligent and able to figure stuff out like that.
well, I mean, like I've been messing with them. Like the first time I saw one was 1987, and the one I saw was at least 12 feet tall.
Wow!
And I watched him for over an hour. And I thought it was a man almost the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until the end when it started getting light enough for me to see him real good. Except I was seeing his silhouette.
Right.
And I just thought it was some guy, a pretty big guy with a big coat, you know, like a big puffy coat or something. But when it got bright enough that I could see that it was a hairy man thing that was freaking ripped. I mean, I never seen anything so strong in my life. I still haven't seen anything that strong ever. You know, even Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't hold anything to this dude. He was bad. He didn't have a 6-pack. He had a 12-pack. You know, belly. And
I think we just coined a new word in my mind. Instead of calling them Bigfoot, we should just call them feral humans.
They could be.
Yeah, they may be.
They really could be. I know they're smart. Like this one ran, you know, I was hunting at the time too. So, and I was carrying a Weatherby 300 Magnum Mark V. I wanted to kill a pig. Or no, a bear. I had bear tags and pig tags.
Okay.
But only I was actually after the bear. And I know usually like here, the bears, they hear and see you or smell you way before you do, and they're more weary than a deer. You know, they'll if you do see them, it's like 100 yards or out, you know, further out.
Okay.
And they're on the move. You know what I mean? And they might stop, but it might be like 500 yards away. And with a regular 30-06 or something like that, you don't want to wound it. You know, you want to take it down. So. And that's how come I was carrying the 300 Magnum. That way, anything 1,000 yards out, you know,
you could still drop.
Yeah, I could drop him with one shot. So that's why I was carrying that. And but only when this thing took off running, when he finally noticed us, and he took off running, he went behind a pine tree and he never came out. And once I grew a pair, you know.
Right.
Like, because I really wanted to run is what I wanted to do, but you know, my curiosity was like, what the hell, you know, I gotta know what happened. Like, where did he go? You know,
right.
Like, how did he, you know, did he just disappear? Is he in the tree? You know, so I made a big circle where I could like see behind the tree. Without, you know, he moved so fast. I made sure, you know, that I was a couple hundred, you know, 100 yards from the tree. No way, you know, he was gonna get me. I would shoot him before he got to me. You know.
Right.
I made sure that I had that kind of safety zone. You know.
Right.
But only I found his tracks running to the tree, and they were 15 feet between tracks.
Wow.
Then when it got behind the tree, it slid in behind the tree, and then it went up the hill away from us. And that's when I was like, oh, it's smart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it knew it could use the tree as cover and run straight away, and I couldn't see it running away.
Right.
And man, that scared the shit out of me then. I didn't go back to the mountains for like 6 years. It was like, I don't want to be in the forest with this.
Well, just remember, curiosity does kill the cat.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. So, you know, that's funny though, man. That's a good story. I'll tell you what, Folks, this is why me and Alan talk all the time, because he has great, cool. You're not even. You need to go to the Squatch Zone. You know, him saying these anecdotes, you may think it's unbelievable until you actually see the documentation this gentleman comes up with. I mean, you know, he has videos up on different things that he finds, and you know, there's a lot of people out there that'll, you know, be fluff and this, that, and the other about the paranormal. Alan's not one of them. You know, he gets out there and does it live on both feet, and so I give him big props on that.
Well, I have video of him. I have one video that's like 1,000 yards away, and then I have another video where it was walking, and I think it had a baby with it, or a youngin', and then it sat down. Like, soon as the camera came out, it sat down and froze. And the one that was 1,000 yards away, it was digging in the rocks, and as soon as the camera came out, it froze.
Wow.
I mean, it wouldn't even move. And then you're like, well, you know, you could stand there for an hour, you know, videotaping it, it's not going to move. As soon as you look away for a second, or, you know, move for a better shot, I don't know how they know, because they're not looking at you. They have their back to you, and they're frozen solid, you know, not moving. Soon as you go for the better shot, or you're like, you got to do something to make it move or something, you know, because nobody's going to believe you if it's just standing there frozen. As soon as you do it, they're gone.
It gets ghost.
And we never get the second shot, right? The better shot. You never do, because yeah, it knows that your eyes aren't on it anymore, and then it's gone. I mean, as soon as you look around the bush, it's gone. It's like, and both of those videos, they're only a few seconds long, and everybody's like, how come you don't have more? Well, you know, I knew I could have had an hour of it standing there without moving, and then people are going to say it's just a burnt log or this or that. You know, they're a stump. I mean, they're going to say anything but what it really is.
Right.
You know.
Well, now I got a question for you. Have you ever tried taking like a tripod out with you, and if you get the video, you know, they got those real small tripods. I think I can find one for you. I'll send it out to you, brother. But anyways, take a tripod, and it's something you can even do to the bottom of a cell phone, I guess. You know, the little screw, the camera screw thingy. And if you see something like that, you just deploy it down, or put it somewhere like, and then turn your body so it thinks you're not looking at it, and then, you know, you might catch it take off because it knows you're not looking at it. The camera didn't move, but you moved.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that. Like, I even, like, I want to buy a bunch of GoPros and have one, like, on my back. Because a lot of times we'll be walking along and you'll hear it behind you, and you turn around, you won't see it, you know.
Wow.
But what if I had the GoPro, you know, on my back, and one forward for the ones that, you know, that want to show their self, and, you know, catch that too. But only have one on my back. Then when they're crisscrossing the path behind me and stalking me and stuff, I'll catch them.
That'd be cool.
You know, hopefully. I don't know. I think so far they're good at avoiding cameras like crazy, man. I mean, like, we put up game cameras. First we were putting up one here and there, you know, around, you know, have like 4 or 5 of them, but all of them like spread out along game trails and stuff. Only like the ones where the Bigfoot was, it malfunctioned. Or the batteries went dead, and it would malfunction like for 6 shots it'll take 6 dark shots with nothing.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden they'll start working again. You know, you'll see a deer and a squirrel and a bird, you know, but only for like 3 minutes it was taking shots of you know, just black. That's it. So then we were like, okay, you know, we'll put another camera, and we'll aim a camera at each other. That way, if they mess up one camera, you know, the other camera will get them, you know.
Right.
And then both cameras malfunctioned.
Wow.
At the same time, right? at the same time, and they both took pictures at the same time, and they both were black. You know, but the bait we put out for them that they liked the best, apples, which had stickers on it, little stickers on the apples. The stickers are still there, laying in a pile, and the apples are gone.
Yeah, and a wild animal wouldn't do that.
No, and the camera took pictures, but only took black pictures.
Wow.
Right. But then later, the camera started working again, and you could see where the apples were there, and then all of a sudden it took a bunch of black pictures. And then when it started taking pictures again, where you could see, there was no apples. It was like, where'd they go? But then when you went and collect the SD card and change the batteries, then you find a little pile of stickers. It was like the animals, you know, bears will eat the sticker, they'll eat the bag, right? And all, you know, I mean, like they're not picky eaters, you know.
Alan,
they eat the whole thing, you know.
Alan will tell you, we've known each other a few years now, and it's so funny to me. I knew nothing about the paranormal. I knew only about my experiences in life, and that's pretty much how we met. Not going to get into all that, but the thing is, once I met up with Alan, I started doing research and looking at certain things, and kind of what he's talking about, I heard of before, and it was some ranch, Bigelow bought it. Skinwalker Ranch, yeah. And the same kind of things happened out there, and they had like, folks, they had like high-tech stuff out there. Even George Knapp went out there and stayed for a while with stuff, and they got nothing on camera, but they all had freaky experiences. So that's something you could look at. I mean, there is something to them having some knowing, and it's got to be a supernatural sense, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion. I don't know, you know. And like I said, they could just be feral humans. We don't know. That's, you notice, Alan will say Bigfoot, but he'll also say I don't know. You know, he's an honest broker about this subject, where he's not insistent this is a Bigfoot unless he knows that this is what a Bigfoot, quote unquote, feral human, quote unquote, would look like. And I would say, as an honest broker, he's about the most honest man I've met in this subject, and I'm being very frank.
Well, a lot of people are in it for the money, or, you know, the notoriety or the fame or whatever. And I already did that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I had a life prior and worked in the casino industry, was the marketing director. You know, everybody wanted to be my friend. And, you know, and then had a near-death experience where the doctor made a mistake and it killed me. And I actually am lucky to be alive. So now, like, before, all the material stuff mattered to me before. Right. The notoriety, the fame, the cars, whatever, you know. Now, it's more like I'm living on borrowed time. I know this, you know, there's an end coming, and I'm not afraid of it. Right. Only I also am not chasing the monetary crap that you can't take with you. You know, that it doesn't matter really, you know. That's what I learned in my near-death experience. All that doesn't even matter, you know.
It'll all burn out. Yeah.
So now what I'm doing is I'm doing my actual passions. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing what I like doing, and I'm having fun doing it, and I'm sharing it with people. If I get famous, whatever, you know. If I make money, cool. But only it isn't my. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I'm having fun. I like sharing it with people. The more people that know, because I think people should know.
Yes.
I think that people should know when they're in Yosemite, or they're out in the woods where you live, even where if they're fishing along some rivers or creeks or lakes, or these things are around and they're watching you. Yeah. And some of the weird stuff that happened to you when you're out there is because of them. Yeah. Well,
just like we were talking about earlier, David Paulides dances around the subject of missing 411, but in all honesty, what he's talking about a lot of times screams to me feral human involvement or Bigfoot, you know, whatever. Some of them do, especially like when you find a kid that, you know, is 4 or 5 miles and they're 3 years old going directly up a mountainside.
Yeah, crossing two rivers.
Yeah.
You know,
and they find
barefooted.
Yeah, and they find him within, you know, a day or two, sometimes alive, sometimes dead. And in the freezing weather, you know, I mean, just a lot of the stuff does not make sense, you know, and even the hunters that they found, the weapons are sometimes broken.
Yeah.
And, you know, with a force that a human couldn't have delivered to it. There's one guy that was out in the middle of a snowy area hunting. I can't remember the full story, but, you know, there's nothing but, he's by a frozen lake. And they find him later on, but his rifle was busted, and there's no trees to break the rifle with. And why would a hunter break that rifle himself? You know, there's just things that are nonsensical. And
yeah, like out here, the ones that got me were they find a body that they say, okay, the official report is it jumped off the cliff, or they, you know, commit suicide or fell off a cliff, right?
Right.
Yeah, but only when you measure how far from the cliff they were, there was no humanly possible way they jumped, even running and jumped, and got that far away from the cliff. Right. Even though it was still obvious they came off the cliff, they're way far out there, like somebody, you know, like launched them off the cliff is what happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, how do you explain that one, you know?
I don't know.
Like the first 411 book, we interviewed, you know, David Pilates a couple times on this show. The ones we interviewed you on, and my teacher, my 7th grade teacher, was in the book, you know, and I was reading it so I could ask good questions, you know. And here I come across like the 4th or 5th person chapter, and it's my teacher from the 7th grade that went missing, and he was a lieutenant colonel with the fighter wing here, National Guard, and those guys for like 2 years, the whole National Guard was out looking for him. Every weekend and on their vacations and everything, they were looking for him because that's a brother, you know, to them.
Right.
And I mean, he was a good guy, you know, and everybody wanted to find him. They still haven't found him.
Wow. I got to tell you, a brother of mine, Tom, he sent me a PM and he said, sounds like you've seen some serious stuff. He's enjoying our talk and just wanted to give a shout out to Tom. Miss you, bro.
Cool.
He's down in Alabama. He's one of the great guys, so you know what I'm talking about, brother. So
right on.
Yeah. But yeah, Tom, I got your message and I just relayed it to him so he knew. I'm telling you, man, that's something, the stuff that you've done and just the different things that you've seen, it always, it's why I felt so comfortable talking to you about anything. And I always have.
Right, yeah.
And
well, for some reason, man, we click because we've been doing it for a long time, you know, talking and stuff. Yeah. And I mean, it's always really good too. Like we could go on, and before we know it, it's like 3 a.m.
Yep. This is how it usually starts, folks.
Yeah, usually really it does, you know.
Yeah. You know, believe it or not, I had this YouTube channel. This is my first one since 2007 and never put anything on it. And I did the other one because I couldn't get into this account. Finally, I got back into my old account. And I just said, I'm going to, you know, I told you my philosophy on this. And this is how I'm going to keep this channel. Some people might like it, some people won't. But definitely, you may not like my channel, but you definitely are going to like the Squatch Zone. And that's on YouTube. And that is Alan's channel. And Alan, do you have any Patreon or anything like that? Any GoFundMe?
Yeah, everything is Squatch Zone. Okay. Like I have a Facebook Squatch Zone. I have a, and then I heard there is a Squatch Zone radio and all this stuff that somebody else has, but only like most everything Squatch Zone is me. And I started it like way back, the Squatch Zone, and nobody was doing Squatch Zone, but then I got caught up with Jeffrey. And we were doing Paranormal Central, and everything paranormal, and I was still doing the Squatch Zone, but I was only putting things here and there, Okay. I had most of my focus on Paranormal Central.
Cool.
But only once me and Jeff split, and then I went back to Squatch Zone and went and started developing it, and I was worried a little bit, all of a sudden there's this other Squatch Zone person, like, hey, but only I can date my stuff way back to 2012.
Right.
So if they do come along and say, hey man, what are you doing stealing our names? Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know about people stealing names. A friend of mine has a podcast, and all of a sudden, Alex Jones's compatriot names his the War Room, and but they'd had the War Room for years, and it's hilarious to me because they stopped by my house. We were all chilling one time, and they were like, "This is the physical manifestation of the War Room is in Kaisers Kastle," and I just laughed, and that's where the name comes from. This program that I'll be doing, Kaisers Kastle. I got to give a shout out to the Vandal Boys. So that's where it comes from.
Right on. That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, nowadays, like, I was kind of tripping out. Like, nobody was doing live YouTubes. Everybody, everything was pretty much, what do you call it, recorded or edited. Right. A lot of edited stuff, And then when I started doing YouTube after Jeffrey, we would do live all the time.
Right.
But we never did live YouTube. We would do live stream or I think mostly live stream. Then we did Art Bell for, like, I don't know, 2-3 years. We were on the Art Bell network.
Right.
And then we got off of that. Jeffrey didn't like Art Bell. Something happened. They had a falling out, and we got away from Art Bell. And we were doing the live stream again. And then I started putting stuff on Facebook. Some of the shows.
Oh, okay.
And people were loving it. But then when we split, at first I was lost. I was like, man, what am I gonna do?
Right.
Like I like spending all my time doing all this stuff with Jeffrey. Now all of a sudden I have all this free time and no deadlines or schedules. Like, dang, what happened? And I thought, okay, I'll go back to Squatch Zone and get it going. And only I was gonna do it all live, as much as possible live.
Cool.
So back in October, I started doing, like, all I had was my cell phone. I didn't have any equipment or anything. And I was doing bedtime stories. And I would tell a bedtime story. I would come on, like, right about now, and tell a scary, spooky, real, true story.
That sounds cool.
And everybody was loving it, man. And I got away from the bedtime stories. I told everybody I'm going to do it again. Only what I'm going to do is I'm going to find Native American lore or stories, and I'm gonna tell Native American stories for a while, and I'm going to do the bedtime story thing again.
That'd be cool.
Just for the fun of it. Yeah, I mean they love it, and then they go in the chat, and they're all chatting, and they've created quite a little family in the chat thing. It's pretty fun.
Well, that's kind of what the purpose is of this. I mean, people building manor brotherhoods, and just brotherhoods. Period.
Yeah.
And
I think everybody wants to belong to something or be in on,
Oh yeah, and people are naturally curious and want to seek the truth, and you're a big truth seeker, but you're also a truth teller. And
Yeah.
I sort of fancy myself that way. And,
Well, you are.
you know, but I'm
I
just
think
saying,
you do.
like
You
we
you
said,
just have you just can't say the truth sometimes. Like
well,
you can't.
I do hold
You know.
back a lot. But
Well, I mean, if you really let it out, I mean, it would be not good for your health.
it
Let's
could
say.
be.
You know?
I mean,
Yeah.
there was a plane that just went down the other day. 71 passengers for one guy. Oh, he was with Rossitron. Ooh, wow. Wonder why that happened.
Right. But
And
why did all that? You know what? That plane that you're talking about, I was following that Q guy, right?
yeah,
Q and on or whatever,
yeah.
and Alex Jones, and I was following Billy. When that plane went down, I started thinking, you know what? Like they're saying, have patience. You know, we're taking them down or whatever. Well, how many more innocents got to be dead before they finally cut the head of the snake
Well,
off?
here's how I look at that. The gentleman who was killed, you have to remember with Uranium One, the delivery was made, and the money was received by the guy who's now heading the investigation into our president, Mueller.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and it was under the auspices of the Clinton Foundation. So these are facts that are immutable, and it's already open sourced. Yeah, you may not like the source, but it's open
right,
source. So I didn't speak anything out of the box. I'm just relaying what is already open source. Nobody can
right.
prove I know anything or don't know anything. But what I'll tell you is it is going to go fast forward from here because too much is coming undone too quickly.
Yeah.
And people are running for the hills right now. I'll guarantee you will start seeing people lawyering up in D.C. because it's gone on fast forward now with there's even a liberal rag, Dan Bongino, I posted it on my page, did a great show on it yesterday. I knew about it, but Dan broke it first, of course, and that's why I'm glad I have a live thing so I can actually say something if I find something out and not
Right.
get scooped. But the thing is Comey ran his mouth, and so did John Brennan, and the timelines didn't match, and so even this liberal rag had to write the truth about.
Oh.
Yeah, they had to. That the timelines.
Oh, I bet it killed the dude, man. I bet he was like I bet it was like squeezing blood out, you know.
Oh, well, that's why I've said the entire time, it's not just the FBI that has dirty hands. It's also the CIA and the NSA.
Right.
You know, the only clean hands we see in our government right now, well, that I can tell you, is the IG. And remember, there's 97 different federal agencies, and every IG, Inspector General, is a gun carrier. They have arrest authority. So all Inspector Generals are cops. Second thing, they all go to FLETC, just like I did, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. The other thing I'll tell you is DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, because it was run by DOD, has the cleanest hands out of all the intel agencies. Honestly, I believe our president should get rid of the FBI, DOJ, and the CIA and a couple other agencies and just redo them. Because right now they're so infested that there's no way to clean it out except for to clean it out.
And you know what's really bad is it just isn't the ones at the top. Everybody goes, well, it's just the top. Well, all them little dudes that all the way down, they are helping. You know what I mean? They're complicit. They know, and they still do. They still are following orders and actually relishing it. You know what I mean?
You're exactly correct. I'll tell you this.
Give me the raise. I'm getting a raise. I did this, you know, and they're championing the cause, you know, and they shouldn't. They're little rats is what they are.
My opinion is just like this, and I agree with you. We're not going to have disagreement on this at all, but I will tell you the reasoning, my reasoning. If you are a cop and you know another cop's dirty and you say nothing, or you're forced to say nothing because you're worried about your retirement, You're worried about this. You're worried about that. Well, that shows a lack of honor. And so, yes, I will blame the rank and file of all those agencies, because everybody, I've worked for the government several times, and I'm telling you, if there's something bad going on, everybody knows about it, but people won't say a word normally. And I've been a whistleblower several times on things, because there is something called integrity. There's something called honor, and nobody can strip you from either of those. Only you can strip yourself from that. And these gentlemen and ladies that did not sack up and step up and grab their pair of either balls or ovaries are directly responsible for the shit show that we're seeing right now.
Oh yeah, I mean they're complicit.
Yeah.
They complied with it, and some of them it was because of the raise, and it wasn't threats that was keeping them going. It was because they were getting accolades, and they were getting tight with the boss, and all of a sudden they were going to parties they weren't invited to, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I know how that goes, because when I worked in the casino industry, right? Marketing director, and I knew how. I mean, there's some kiss ups, from way down there. I mean, the guy that's cleaning the bathroom, he'll do anything to get out of the bathroom,
right?
And do something else. And mostly, what he wants is he wants to hobnob and rub elbows with the movers and shakers,
right?
And they'll do anything, you know what I mean? Like, he could even be questionable, all that, and they'll still do it. And they made me sick. Like, I didn't trust those people. No. Even though I liked that dude cleaning the toilet, if he did a really good job and he wasn't ass kisser or a freckle getter, like he had his nose up there so far that every time I fart he gets a freckle.
Right.
If he wasn't one of those, then he moved up and he got more. Those guys that did the right thing in my department went further than the other ones that would step on people, hurt people, and not feel sorry either.
Yeah, that shows more about those
brag about it.
Yep, that shows more about them people than words can even describe, when somebody's actions are that subpar. Let me use that phrase. I'm going to grab some ice and another soda. Give me 1 second, brother. Can you start on another story or something?
Yeah, I could, man.
Right.
I could.
All right, 1 sec. I'll be back. If you have to do the same, I'll be back.
Oh, I'm good. Only I wanted to talk about like something I seen, and it's like the off the chart thing. Something was. At first I thought it was a flying saucer. It was me and my friend, and it was like floating, looking like a cigar. But it was coming at us, and we're standing out there having a smoke, and it was like sunset, and this cigar-shaped thing's like coming at us, and we're talking about like, man, look at the cigar, and it got closer and closer, and we started, first we were like, it doesn't have wings, it doesn't have lights, and then when it got really close, it realized it did have wings. But only they look like fixed wings, and I started to think it was a drone or something. And it got closer, and then I realized, that it had eyes and wings that looked like dragon wings, black dragon wings. It was like a furry looking man kind of creature, but only like 14 feet long, and the wingspan was probably like 20 something feet.
Wow.
But they didn't look like they could hold the body of it up.
Huh.
They were like skinny wings, but they were like dragon wings. Like, how when you see a dragon, the wings are like, they look like they can't hold the dragon up. You know what I mean? They're all little skinny little wings, but the dragon flies really good. Well, it looked like those kind, jet black wings, brown fur, and then it was like, what the F, and my buddy's like, I'm gonna go get the camera, and I'm like, okay, and I keep a backpack with me. I've learned with a camera, binoculars, first aid, all little snacks,
Right.
anything I need. You know what I mean? It's a hat, a blanket, everything. It's like a little everything you need in one little backpack thing.
A little go bag.
Yeah, and it's got just about everything you need in it. All my meds. If I get stuck somewhere, I have 3 days worth of meds. Not a lot, just a few days.
Right.
Well, I run in and I move the camera out of the way so that I could get the binoculars. Because he said he was getting a camera. So I run back to where we were standing, and we meet almost at the same time, and he's messing with his camera. I guess he messed with the settings. He was taking a night shot the night before.
Oh, man.
So all the settings was messed up. But he didn't tell me that right then, So I'm like, I get the binoculars up, and it's right above us as I'm raising the binoculars. And I can see it really good, but then I focus the binoculars, and it's passing by now. It's like went past us, and right when I get the binoculars focused, I can see it's most of the front half of it, but I can't see the wing tips. I can't see the knees and further back. But I can see the head, and the head's like round, right? No neck. The head was round, and it just was sitting on its shoulders, and it turned its wings kind of like sideways, kind of like where it was scooping the wind or scooping up the air, and it was slowing itself down a little bit.
Right.
And I was thinking it was a drone until that. When it did that, I thought it was. I thought it was like some flying monster drone. I didn't think it was real.
Some sort of like
and when
Hollywood
it turned,
prop.
yeah, I thought somebody was like radio controlled something.
Right.
But then when it scooped up the air and it turned back and it looked at me, and it was looking at me with these big, huge eyes. They were like probably 15 inches across, and they were all red velvet. That's all. It just looked like red velvet. And it looked at me, and my buddy started yelling, "It's looking at you! It's looking at you! Not me! Not me!" And he was freaking out because it was looking towards us, but it was looking at me. I knew because I could see perfectly it looking at me. I was looking at, and then it turned forward and it glided on. And glided away just like how it glided up to us, and it never ever flapped its wings. Wow. Never. And I was thinking, how is it holding itself up? The wings aren't big enough. They look like paper thin, and they were not wide enough to hold something that big and heavy looking up in the air. But it was still flying, and it was, like, that was freaky, real freaky. And now, like I seen a UFO one time, and I look up sometimes. When I seen that thing, I watch the sky like you never seen before, man. I am watching the sky like a hawk now. I'll be standing there talking to somebody, and I won't look them in the face because I'm too busy scanning the sky. That blew me away. Like my whole paradigm got
shifted.
Changed, Yeah, Bigfoot changed my life. That thing changed everything, like, whoa.
Right.
Bigfoot is kind of biological. That was defying gravity. Science.
Defying everything that's natural. And that's
right. And I don't know, I thought demon, that's what I started thinking right away.
The same here.
And my buddy, he's like, he nicknamed it Mothy. Because its eyes looked like, to him, it looked like moth eyes.
Huh.
Everything else looked like maybe a Bigfoot with dragon wings, except for its head was like round, like.
Well,
and it was huge,
That's
yeah.
Demon. The supernatural. That's you and I have talked biblical stuff. We can sort of dip our toes in it. Do you need to get a drink or anything? Because I can. Go on if you want me to. And
no, I'm
okay,
fine.
Cool.
Good.
So, just like we said when we talk, you know, and trust me, I'm no biblical scholar, but I do know enough about it that this stuff, everything old is new, and there is nothing new under the sun. I am a firm believer in it, and that's just where I live and think. And when you say a demon, I think that's probably the most logical explanation for it. In all honesty,
I can't think of nothing else.
Yeah.
Like I you know what? And I've been combing the internet for pictures. There is nothing on the internet that's even close to what I've seen. I have not found anything that looks like it yet.
There's a reason.
Even all the pictures of Mothman, they're not. I mean, the only thing they have maybe close is the round head and the eyes. Everything else, it doesn't match.
Yeah.
You know.
The reason they call it supernatural, my friend.
Yeah, probably, huh?
Yeah. You know, it's in
trippy
nature.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's in nature, but it's nothing that we can identify. A cryptoid, you know, whatever. We come up with all these fancy terms, but in the end, it's still a demon.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? Maybe even a pharaoh human or a Bigfoot's a demon. We don't know. The Bigelow Ranch.
Well, I know. Yeah. See, Bigelow, like, there's some stuff that nobody has seen come out of there too, man.
Right.
You know,
that was freaky. That was, I think, me and you were talking about that, and that's what made me go look it up. It's usually after me and you are talking, and you'll bring up some real cool stuff that you heard back when you guys were on Art Bell's channel, and also people you've interviewed. And I think that's how I got into the missing 411, if I remember, if memory serves, was me and your conversation when you guys had interviewed David Paulides. And yeah, so that's what's going on there, brother. So I'm in full accord with you on that. That it seems to me that's demonic in some way. I mean, like I said, I'm no biblical scholar, but it's the only thing that would really make sense on that one.
Well, I did a bunch of research, you know, trying to figure it out. Because, you know, like, if I could, I wanted to find something that looked like it so I could share with everyone, you know, like what it looked like. And I finally drew something. It's on my Facebook. And I don't know, you know, I'd have to find it. It was so long, 3 years ago, and I post stuff like crazy, you know, so pictures and stuff went flying down there. It's in there somewhere. But only I started researching it, and then the demon thing, I thought about it, you know. Like, if it was a demon, which kind of demon? Like, and then I stumbled across the demons are almost like they have the same they have a hierarchy. Okay, like there's the little, you know, grunt demons, and then they go on up from there, you know, to the general demon or admiral or whatever, you know. Sort
of the same span of what we would call in theological terms angels, you know. Angels,
right? Exactly.
You know, you have Michael, Gabriel. You know, people even forget that even Lucifer was an angel. So,
right.
You know, like I said, there is a hierarchy, I believe, in all of that. I'm not smart enough to be able to tell you or anybody else. I know my opinion, but my opinion's worth exactly that, my opinion.
Right, yeah, same here. Yeah. In fact, like what I and this is my opinion only, is I figured out by, you know, a little research and stuff, if they have the hierarchy, and I found, like, in history, you know what I mean, when people talk about them over geographic areas and stuff like that, like, it might be in charge of maybe this principality, this city or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it might be the boss demon of all the little grunts that are running around causing the city to be, you know, having problems, and this dude's the one floating around up there calling the shots. And maybe it wasn't. Yeah. And he normally can't be seen, I guess, and he probably freaked out when we could see him.
Right.
You know.
Well, it's just like when I was in Iraq. I'll never forget passing up the walls of Nineveh. This is up in Mosul. I think I told you this story, so sorry if I did. I guess the viewers that we have that maybe haven't heard this story would be interested in it. It came to my mind at that time about how much I'd driven around Iraq, different places, and Mesopotamia, which was Iraq, was where they said that the Garden of Eden, was biblically. And in the Bible, it says God never said he destroyed the Garden of Eden. He said he posted angels to where no man or woman shall ever enter it again. Well, that caused me to think, because we're talking paradigms and whatnot, and this is just where my mind went with it at the time, and it still does. I still believe this. Think about it. If you have an angel at every entrance to it, and you think of space-time as three-dimensional, which we do, right? What if the angels, the Garden of Eden is massive, right? But those angels compress that space-time to where you drive right through it. You never actually enter it. You drive through it because it's being supernaturally compressed into a different dimension. Because
like kind of like 2D, huh?
Yeah.
Like it'd be like a thin as a piece of paper, or even thinner than that.
Yeah.
Even
a veil is put in front of it. So there's a lot of stuff we can talk esoteric about that kind of thing, but in the end, none of us know. But it's stuff to ponder. And that's what's so cool about, I guess, our conversations is we do talk about some wild stuff that, maybe people will find it interesting, maybe they think it's a toss, who cares? It's our normal conversation that we enjoy. And maybe some others will enjoy it too.
Well, I always wanted to go over, that's, like, I tripped around Africa for a little while, and all the voodoo, weirdo stuff over there. But I always wanted to go to the the Crescent area where you were at, where we're actually like, there's a lot of history over there,
Oh yeah.
And I bet there's some stuff over there. Like if you think that I seen something over here, I bet there's some really far out shit over there that that people there that they grew up with it, so they don't even think anything of it, really.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, I've seen one thing in my life that's overseas, and that's everybody knows that. Who cares? But that was paradigm shifting. But the more paradigm shifting is just traveling through places that you've seen when you were a kid, with your baby Bibles or whatever you want to call it, your child, different Bible stories and whatnot. And so when you're passing the walls of Nineveh, when you go through Babel, when you've seen Babylon, the Tower of Babel was being rebuilt by Saddam.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. It was still a structure when we were there. You drive right by it, and you had to pay for.
No wonder they took him out. God took him out. Says you ain't rebuilding that, chump.
It's not that tall, trust me. I mean, it's just, but it is funny that they were rebuilding it, and I mean, a lot of stuff. I mean, just like when I went down to, I was stationed in, what's the name of that place? San Antonio, Texas, and I had to see the Alamo. I just couldn't wait to see it. And then when you see it in person, it's so much smaller. And you end up going down the stairs to the Riverwalk and drinking heavily instead, I mean, it's the same kind of thing, man. When I went to Hawaii, I wanted to go see the Polynesian Cultural Center, and different places there. And I did, even did the little Jermaine's Luau thing on Oahu, and you end up still going down to Lure Street and drinking at Moose McGillicuddy's. There's another one in San Diego when I was young. They're probably defunct now, but they were like a restaurant, sports bar kind of thing back in the day.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was in San Diego, and they had another one on Lures. And but yeah, I mean, it's just wild. You have this it's the same thing. You're looking at it as a child, and you're passing these things up as an adult. You still get that sense of wonder. That's the most dangerous time whenever you go to the Middle East is when you first get there. And I was told to take leave every 6 months. I didn't listen, and I stayed for 8 months, and until I took leave with my wife, and we went away for 45 days and traveled Europe. But the thing about it is when you first get there, it's about 2 weeks it takes till you snap out of the sense of wonder, because it's such an odd, unique culture. Not that it's good, I'm not telling you that, but what I'm telling you is it's unique. You're now living this, you know, and it's not like I was living on a fob around a bunch of military people. I was training Iraqis, or I was training other people, or I was doing other things, and I'm living with the indigenous people. And so the interesting thing is that you get that weird sense of wonder, and so, you know, it would be easy for you to miss something. And then the reason why I say 8 months was too long is you start getting complacent at about 5.5 months, and you really should take leave, because then you become too, like, the British are very comfortable, and I was a lot like them, and so are the Saffers, South Africans. Very comfortable in a foreign country. It's not so much, it doesn't feel much like a foreign country, but since I'd been to the first Gulf War and lived in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, I was still like them in a way, you know, where it didn't feel that much foreign to me as it did when I was a young man during the first Gulf War in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and southern Iraq. But as an adult, you know, I still got that weird sense of wonder, and I noticed that that's the reason. And at about the 5.5 month point, you really don't give a crap, and you just live like the indige do. I mean, you're still dressing Western and stuff, don't get me wrong.
Right, yeah.
But the thing is, and you're still carrying a gun, and, you know, you still have a job to do. But the thing about it was, that's when you're the most open to an attack, I believe, is your first 2 months. And then if you stay for longer than 5.5 months, you'll start to lose that edge. And then another thing I noticed, and you also go a little batty in the mind too. The other thing I noticed, like, when a nation state fails, people are like, oh man, you traveled to a recently destroyed country or whatever, right? And it's like, it's the safest you'll ever be in your life, because everybody's out there wanting to settle scores and old blood feuds. So they're not even worried about you until about 6 months goes by. Then they're going to deal with you. So you have that golden 6 months when a nation state fails, that if you're not a person that lives in that community, you really don't have much to worry about. It's just the normal nature of things, I think. I don't know.
Well, I know, like when you get too comfortable, I think they sense it too.
Oh yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not on your guard. You're not watching like you did before. You're getting friendlier, you know, and at casual, and they're probably like, oh, hey, you know, we might be able to sneak up on this dude now.
Complacency,
you know, he's not on guard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Complacency kills, my brother. Wow.
I agree with that.
This has been an awesome show tonight. And I'm glad you and I decided we were going to do this.
Me too, man. I actually been looking forward to it. Just been so, like, in my, you know, lately for me, it has been one thing after the other, you know. And, but I mean, you know, we kept at it. We kept on like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Yay. Yep. You know, it feels good too. It does.
It does, brother.
Got it all done.
It's good to get her done. We will do one of these again. I know it's getting late for me. I know it's getting late for you. And we don't want to keep everybody up for 3 hours, but we did about almost 2 hours. We're at 1 hour and 44 minutes and 14 seconds at this time.
Wow, not bad.
And it's gone by, just, folks. This is me and Alan's normal type of conversation, and you just eavesdropped on it, and we willingly let you. So
Yeah.
welcome to Kaisers Kastle, and Alan's been the star guest. And please let everybody know your sites again, and if you have a Patreon, a PayPal, anything like that, that if people are interested in donating and seeing what you do, they can do either of them.
Well, I know I don't make any money on YouTube.
Right.
YouTube, they made it where you can't make money,
Right.
Even though I have like a little over 8,000 subscribers now, when you monetize, they keep you demonetized for like 2 days or 24 hours, and then the next thing you know, they monetize it, but only all the people that were gonna watch it pretty much watched it, and they got the money, and you don't.
Oh wow.
So, yeah. I mean it, and I mean even though it wasn't the money I was enjoying, I was getting paid by YouTube a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a lot. It was like a little bit of gas money and take your wife to the movies type money. Not buy a car or a house or anything, nothing like that.
Right.
Not even pay for your cell phone bill. You know what I mean? It wasn't even that much.
Right.
But only now it's nothing.
Right.
So like if they want to donate, I do have some. I want to upgrade my equipment and stuff like that. So, like if you go to the Squatch Zone, I have my PayPal link up. I do have a Patreon, however you say that. That they can go to. Everything is Squatch Zone. Like if you go at Patreon, type Squatch Zone, bam, there I am. If you go to Facebook, type Squatch Zone, bam, and it has the little eyes. I have these. I'm gonna redo it pretty soon because I threw everything together, and I haven't really done anything to change anything. But only I've been messing around in the back. Like I want to help you learn. There's some little tricks I learned recently for YouTube that you can, put things up, to lead them to other videos and stuff like that you made, links and stuff like that. It'll show up.
Oh, cool.
And I just learned how, but only just type Squatch Zone and they can go there, and then anytime, man, anytime you give me a holler, anytime.
You the same thing, man. Anytime you get, and I know you will anyways, this is just the way we work, but the next time you find something that's as wild as this thing you found on your last adventure, you feel free. Let me know. If there's videos we can upload, we'll do that. We'll link to them on my page also. I've probably got no subscribers yet, but just because this is my first video. But we'll see.
Yeah, it'll come. It'll go.
I'm not worried.
That's what's cool is there's millions of people, and you'd be surprised that there's a million people that see things like you do.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a million that hate you, but only we don't know that yet. But I've ran into a few so far of the million that hate me, but it's okay,
Yeah, there's always haters. They don't bother me. They don't pay me. They don't fuck me. And so
no shit, huh?
And in the end, some of the haters that I've met that would talk mad shit, when they meet me in person, they keep their mouths shut. Figure that one out. So
that's how it goes, huh?
It is.
They're only brave behind the keyboard usually.
Keyboard commandos, babe.
I learned there's like a lot of squatchers that are keyboard squatchers. Like they don't have much time around the out in the field, but they have a lot of time around the keyboard, and and Google, and they're like Googling Bigfoot, and they think they know everything, And I tell you, I don't even know anything hardly, and I've been out there for 30 years looking for them, and I still have a lot to learn,
Shit, I started my living in the martial military field and police field back when I was 17, and I'm now 32 years of experience I have.
Wow.
And let me tell you, I still know nothing. Woody Hayes, he's from where I live. He's a big name coach, and he wrote a book, and he would give it to his players. And I'll leave with this. And a matter of fact, I really like the sentiment of the book, and it's called Woody Hayes, Everything I Know About Football. And you open the book up, and you will not find anything written inside the book. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to buy that book.
Yeah.
For reals.
Well, I think he only gave it out to players, so if you found one, it's probably going to be pretty pricey.
Well, that's like for reals.
Yeah.
Like people tell me like you know me because we've been talking a long time. A lot of people that probably never heard of me right now, but they're telling me, man, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. Well, I always sit down to write it, only I'm not done with it yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't end the book because I haven't ended. Like I feel like I'm not to the end where I could write a book yet. I'm still learning and stuff like that. So I sit down, and my book has no pages in it either. You know what I mean? There's nothing on any page because I'm still writing the book in my head. I'm still living the book, kind of like.
Just living the book of our lives. But the funny thing is, I did write mine, and the problem is it's never ending. Because you have to go back, and upon reflection, that's the hard part, is upon reflection, I can think of the naivete and the wanderlust and everything that I had as a youth, and then look back on it now with more mature eyes, and I see it totally differently. And,
yeah.
And so then you'll write something about your youth, and you'll say it, and it's totally honest, but then you're like, but that, it's just not right, and so you end up wrapping around on that over and over again. And like you said, it's unfinished, and I don't know how to disconnect on it. L.A. Marzulli told me just pick 120 pages. He said normal book size, and he said each chapter about 10 pages, and he said just go from there. But even with that, because trust me, this thing's a tome, and yeah, and so
that's what I'm afraid mine though.
Yeah,
chapter 1, 500 pages later.
Yeah, it's like nobody really cares either. It's like my son and my wife and my son's friends and people, they're like, yeah, I'd buy your book. Yeah, because you know me. Shut the hell up. Nobody else gives a shit.
When I buy your book, so I can, I use it on my wife. Whap! No.
It's not like I'm some, whatever. It's not like I'm Hillary Clinton, where people are going to pay me big money just to hear my story. No, they don't care. But yeah. So yeah, dude, this is how, folks, this is how we always end. We always end laughing. All right.
Yeah, man.
I love you, man. This has been a great time.
Man. Okay, we'll see you later, Chef.
God bless, brother. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
That was absolutely brilliant.
That was fun, man. That was really fun.
That was a hoot and a holler.
Yeah, it was really fun. You're gonna, like, if we keep doing this and you keep doing it like that and the way you're going, you're gonna pick up a lot of followers, man.